Your identity, your financial future, your entire life security, all of it might be hanging by a thread right now. And the scariest part? You're not alone. 300 million Americans could be facing the same nightmare. What if I told you that right now, as you're watching this video, the most sensitive personal information of every American citizen might be sitting in an unsecured cloud system, practically gift-wrapped for hackers? I'm talking about your social security number, your birth date, your parents' names, everything a criminal needs to steal your identity. Before we dive deep into this shocking revelation, let me ask you something. When was the last time you checked your credit report? How secure do you think your identity really is? Because after what I'm about to tell you, you might never look at your personal security the same way again. No, this isn't some Hollywood movie plot. This is happening right now, and it involves the Social Security Administration, the very organization meant to protect our most sensitive data. A whistleblower has just dropped a bombshell that could shake the foundation of American security as we know it. In the next few minutes, I'm going to reveal how a government modernization project called DOGE, led by some questionable characters, including a teenage hacker and a former Neuralink executive, might have put your entire identity at risk. And more importantly, I'll tell you exactly what you need to do to protect yourself and your family. But before we get into these disturbing details, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. This is a developing story, and you need to stay informed about every update that could affect your personal security. In what could be described as a ticking time bomb of data security, the Social Security Administration's database, containing the sensitive information of over 300 million Americans, might be sitting in an unsecured cloud system. This bombshell revelation came from a whistleblower who stepped forward with alarming claims about a project known as DOGE, Digital Operations for Government Efficiency. Let's rewind to understand how we got here. During his second term, former President Trump initiated DOGE with the noble intention of modernizing our government's digital infrastructure. On paper, it seemed like a logical step forward, bringing our aging systems into the 21st century. However, the execution of this initiative has raised serious concerns among cybersecurity experts and government watchdogs alike. The most troubling aspect of this modernization effort was the decision to grant access to private tech contractors, some of whom had questionable backgrounds. Among these contractors were a 19-year-old with a history of hacking and a former executive from Neuralink. While youth and diverse experience aren't inherently negative, the sensitive nature of the SSA database demands the highest levels of security clearance and expertise. The gravity of the situation becomes clear when you consider the SSA's own internal risk assessments. These documents, which were never meant for public eyes, labeled the DOGE project as very high risk with potential for catastrophic impact. Think about it. If this database were to be breached, every American citizen would be vulnerable to identity theft on an unprecedented scale. The legal system attempted to intervene when a federal court issued a restraining order to halt DOGE operations. However, according to multiple reports, DOGE staff somehow regained access to the system, potentially violating federal law. This raises serious questions about oversight and accountability in our digital age. Who's watching the watchers when it comes to our most sensitive information? What's particularly concerning is the disconnect between public statements and internal communications. While the SSA publicly maintains that all data remains secure, internal documents paint a very different picture. These documents repeatedly warn about critical vulnerabilities and a dangerous lack of oversight. It's a classic case of public reassurance masking private panic. While no breach has been officially confirmed as of now, the risk looms larger than ever. Cybersecurity experts are advising Americans to take immediate precautionary measures. This includes regularly monitoring credit reports, setting up fraud alerts, and implementing credit freezes. But here's the scary part. Even these measures might not be enough if the worst-case scenario comes to pass. The potential fallout from a breach of this magnitude is staggering. We're talking about billions of dollars in damages and a cleanup effort that could span years, if not decades. The government might even need to take the unprecedented step of reissuing Social Security numbers to every American citizen. Just imagine the chaos and disruption this would cause in everyone's lives. This situation has sparked a heated debate about the balance between modernization and security. While no one disputes the need to upgrade our government's digital infrastructure, the DOGE project raises serious questions about the process. How do we modernize without compromising security? Who should have access to such sensitive information? And what oversight measures need to be in place? The implications extend far beyond just identity theft. Think about the national security implications if foreign actors got their hands on this data. The SSA database contains information that could be used for sophisticated social engineering attacks, targeting everyone from ordinary citizens to high-ranking government officials. Scammers are already trying to capitalize on the situation. Reports are emerging of phishing attempts where criminals pose as SSA officials, claiming they need to verify people's information due to the potential breach. It's a reminder that we need to stay vigilant and skeptical of any unsolicited requests for personal information. The whistleblower's claims have also shed light on broader issues within government technology projects. How many other sensitive databases might be vulnerable? What other modernization efforts might be compromising our security? The DOGE situation could be just the tip of the iceberg. The human impact of this potential breach cannot be overstated. Consider elderly Americans who rely on Social Security benefits. They're particularly vulnerable to identity theft and fraud. A breach could disrupt their benefits and leave them financially devastated. The same goes for disabled Americans and others who depend on Social Security programs. Looking at similar breaches in the private sector, we can get a glimpse of what might happen if the SSA database is compromised. The Equifax breach of 2017 affected 147 million people, less than half the number potentially at risk in the SSA situation. That breach led to countless cases of identity theft and financial fraud, with effects still being felt today. The technical aspects of the DOGE project raise additional red flags. Moving such sensitive data to a cloud system isn't inherently problematic. Many secure systems operate in the cloud. However, the speed of the transition and the alleged lack of proper security protocols is concerning. Cybersecurity experts argue that such a massive data migration should have taken years of careful planning and testing. The role of private contractors in handling government data is another crucial aspect of this story. While public-private partnerships can bring innovation and efficiency, they also introduce new risks. How thoroughly were these contractors vetted? What oversight measures were in place? The involvement of individuals with questionable backgrounds suggests these processes might have been rushed or inadequate. The potential economic impact extends beyond individual identity theft. American businesses could face increased fraud risks, and the financial sector might need to implement costly new security measures. The ripple effects could touch every corner of the economy, from small businesses to major corporations. International implications are also worth considering. The United States' reputation as a leader in digital security could be severely damaged. Other nations might hesitate to share sensitive information or engage in digital cooperation if they perceive American systems as vulnerable. The political fallout has already begun, with various factions pointing fingers and demanding investigations. But beyond the blame game, this situation raises important questions about government modernization efforts. How do we balance the need for efficiency with the imperative of security? Who should be making these decisions? The technology community has been vocal about both the risks and potential solutions. Many experts argue that modernization doesn't have to compromise security. In fact, newer systems can be more secure than legacy ones if properly implemented. The key is in the implementation and oversight. Looking ahead, several scenarios could unfold. Best case, the whistleblower's claims are investigated, vulnerabilities are addressed, and the database remains secure. Worst case, we discover the data has already been compromised, leading to a national security and privacy crisis of unprecedented proportions. For the average American, the immediate priority should be protective measures. Beyond credit monitoring and freezes, experts recommend keeping detailed records of any suspicious activity, being extra cautious with unsolicited communications, and staying informed about developments in this situation. The role of Congress in addressing this crisis is crucial. Legislative oversight could help prevent similar situations in the future, but it needs to be proactive rather than reactive. New laws and regulations might be needed to govern how government agencies handle sensitive data in the digital age. Transparency will be key moving forward. The public deserves to know the true state of their personal information security. However, this needs to be balanced against the risk of providing too much information that could be useful to potential attackers. The cybersecurity community has been sounding alarms about government database vulnerabilities for years. The DOJ situation might finally force a serious national conversation about how we protect sensitive information in an increasingly digital world. If you're concerned about your personal information, and you should be, there are immediate steps you can take. First, visit the 3 major credit bureaus' websites and set up fraud alerts. Consider implementing a credit freeze for additional security. Keep monitoring your financial statements and Social Security benefits for any suspicious activity. Don't forget to share this video with your friends and family. Everyone needs to be aware of these risks and take protective measures. Hit that like button if you found this information valuable and subscribe for more critical updates on this developing situation.